Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin.
I'm Jackie Cation.
Oh, I'm Laurie Kilmartin. I guess
There
that's
we go.
always good every once in a while. Introduce
Let people
ourselves.
know.
Mhm.
I was doing the Comedy and Magic Club last night, and you know how it's tag team because it's their anniversary, and 20 comics go up, and everyone does fives, and then there's a bell. And I was to introduce Alex Hooper from America's Got Talent, and
Yeah.
I blew it. Forgot his first name as I was introducing him. Backed up against the curtain. I was like, "Yep," and he goes, "Alex Cooper." Hooper,
Hooper.
Alex Hooper, still doing it. But so he goes on stage and he says, everybody, nice round of applause for Laurie Kilmartin.
I love
3
it.
points, Alex Hooper. Well played.
You know, he will get to a level of fame where he's just hoop, and that's it.
Hoop.
Don't have to worry about Alex. But yeah,
right?
that was great. Haha. I win again.
You win again. Your name is invoked. Well played.
How was the show? How many did you see a bunch of friends and stuff like that?
It was almost all hang, and then I ended up being in the second half of the second show as well, so I bailed.
Yeah.
And somebody who cared more got my 5-minute set. Good for them.
Okay.
Vanessa Derrick, I think it was, who she was pretty great. Anyway, but yeah, I hung out with it was nice. It was nice to see people, and then I went up and I tried a joke that I tried on Friday at the Blast from the Past toy store in Burbank, and I said it right. I didn't even know I was really going to do it. I just came up that it could be part of this one bit, and so I went into this whole thing because I tell you this, that I was talking to a friend of mine, and he literally in the course of the conversation said, "Oh, a neighbor needs to borrow a wire hanger. I'll be right back." And so I said, "Oh my God, it has begun." And he said, and he got shocked and slightly sad. And I was like, "That's not my fault. It's not my fault that women aren't actual people, and we all have to worry about if we're hot enough again."
You're giving a female comic the opening to a very easy abortion joke. I mean, it would be actually career suicide if you didn't take that option.
Right. And it worked really well at Blast from the Past, and it did not work at all. And then I got off stage, and
Comedy Magic.
Angel Gaines said to me, "I think you left out some key stuff," and I know I did, because later. Like moments later, I went to get a cup of coffee at the gelato place next door.
Yeah.
And after the first show, and there were 4 people there, and 2 of them were like, "What was that joke about?" And I was like, "Oh, I left out some key info. If you didn't get that was an abortion joke."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
How was Cincinnati?
Cincy was great. Okay, I feel awful. Because I had a 5:50 a.m. flight.
Oh, right.
So I just stayed up the whole night because I was afraid I was going to miss the flight. Also, because earlier in the week I was taking lifts to a Starbucks.
Yeah.
And one time I had to wait like 45 minutes for a lift to come. And so I was afraid, oh my God, what if there's no... Have you ever been at a gig where you're leaving early in the morning and there's no Lyft or Uber?
Yeah. Remember that thing in Phoenix where they didn't show up? And then and then the other time when I landed and there were no Lyfts or Ubers because it was at like 12:30 a.m. and it was a smaller city. Yeah. And I had to hire a limo. Remember that? I hired $100 limo. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got worried, like, oh no, it's going to be like a $200 Lux Lyft or something. So then I also downloaded Uber to cover my ass. And then I just ordered something at 3 a.m. I was like, I'll just hang out at the airport. I do not want to miss this flight because all the rest of I checked to see if I could leave later, and Southwest is totally sold out. So I would have been in Cincy for another day if I missed this flight. So
yeah.
Anyway, cool. I feel awful because I
rest
slept, and I've been sitting between people for I don't know.
Oh no, middle seat.
5 hours. Yeah, it's Southwest, and I was like boarding group C, So yeah.
How did that happen? Sometimes it happens. Sometimes you forget to check in early enough and you end up being C and then you're kind of screwed.
I
So
was middle on the first leg, and then you hang out at Midway for 2 hours. The worst airport.
the
Just
worst. The worst.
they,
Hard agree.
they
Let's
have
never sponsor us, Midway.
it's ridiculous. They have all of Concourse B. There's one coffee shop. It's a Dunkin' Donuts that's open. Other ones are closed, and the line is like wrapping. It's outside the building and into a hotel, an airport.
The
Hotel.
last time I was there was no food. Like the restaurants were like, we're kind of out of food. And I was like, oh, is this the Soviet Union in 1946? What just happened?
Yeah,
And to
And
me too. That's happened
right.
twice.
at
So
Midway.
at Midway. And
Unbelievable.
so I walk like to another terminal and there's a long line to get a sandwich made or a thing made
Yeah.
and to get coffee made. And I go and I grab, I think I was traveling. I don't know if I was traveling alone, but whatever. I grab a sandwich and I skip to the front of the line. And I was like, if I just want to buy this, can I just give you this? You can keep the change. And so I kind of skipped the line, but it was super fast. All I wanted was that, and it was over like moments later. But Midway, it makes you into that person who skips a line. I felt like a little bit of a monster.
You are
So.
you're always just one inconvenience away from being lost. I mean, everyone knows that about you, Jackie. Yeah. And then I had like breakfast at something called the Hubbard Inn, which is just a little thing in the middle of Midway. The worst food I've ever had.
Mother Hubbard did not come through. What did you have?
Awful. I had eggs that were I don't know what animal they were from. What reptile they were from. I don't know. Scrambled
Reptile eggs. They were green.
and year-old bacon. The
Oh.
sourdough toast was okay, but there was no butter. I was just flat bread. I'm like, all right, that's fine. I'm not gonna fight this.
Right. You're just going to consume some calories so that you can
Yes.
keep walking.
Yeah.
This morning, I made sourdough English muffins with my mother-in-law.
Oh, how's she feeling?
She's doing better. She's got that thing, and I don't know if it's from the COVID medicine or if it's because she has COVID,
Mhm.
but she might be done with COVID. We're all going to take another test to make sure. I'm negative. I've been testing, so
Do you
but-
feel okay?
I feel fine. I am sleepy, but that's, I think, emotional. So, so the but I will say this: I am taking all the sets. I am taking all the sets so that I can get in the car and drive away and then come back. Because as much as I love everybody, so this will be good. I'll become a better comic. Yeah. So she has some sort of taste issue where she has her taste buds, but things taste terrible.
Right. Is she
And-
still testing positive right now?
She hasn't tested since the beginning, so but she's been taking these COVID meds,
The
That maybe
Paxlovid or something.
something like that, and then whatever it is might be making her taste buds give her a bad aftertaste. But I did just talk to a friend of mine this morning, and she was like, "I take it I have long COVID. It's been a month since I've had COVID, and I'm still testing positive. I went to the doctor. They said that I'm not contagious, but I get some days I'm foggy and I can't think." Like she said that she left the grocery store with all of her groceries
Without
and
paying?
without paying. Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah. So she, and then other days she feels fine, but she'll be like exhausted and foggy, and then other days she'll be fine. So this variant's real.
Oh yeah, the variant is bad and it's highly contagious, and long COVID is scary, man.
So how were your shows in other terms?
Okay, so the shows were really fun. I mean, the shows were really fun, and there was a little resistance from some people because, like, from on the way from the hotel to the club, there's at least 15 American flags on front lawns, Trump flags, stuff like that.
Wow.
So and people just came to the show without knowing who the comics were.
Right. hoping to see ska. They could,
Yeah.
they see heavy metal. Yeah,
And I
totally.
only have one joke where I mentioned Trump, but it sets up like three more jokes about my mom, so I
Yep.
can't really drop it. Um, and so there was a table to the right that just became very cold. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like there
Sometimes you
were
can
piles.
literally feel it.
Yes, like a fog descends on the table. And I
Brigadoon.
right, so so I'm looking at them and I asked the guy a question and he goes no, and I'm like okay. I don't know what joke triggered this, but I know something did, and I'm not going to engage this table for the rest of the night. And the rest of the
Yeah,
audience have a great time.
good.
And they probably had no idea,
Yeah,
but I could feel, four sets of crossed arms,
yeah.
waiting
Right for the.
for it. Uh-huh. I didn't give them, everything else is like issue basis. I find if you don't mention Trump, but you could talk about all your issues, then they just get irritated with you. But if you actually say Trump, then they feel.
It's one of the things I never did in. That's why I call him Captain Knobjob. I was like, it helped me not, because if I don't say the word, they are not bright, so they don't know who I'm talking about.
Right.
Or they do, but they're only suspicious.
Yes.
And I, by the way, my the staycation, my staycation special, which is on 800 Pound Gorilla YouTube, it's got a couple hundred comments, and they've all been positive.
Okay.
And someone said, "Ooh, there's some negatives." And I was like, what is it? And they sent me one of them, and it was just, I liked it until the last 10 minutes got woke. And I was like, yes, I'm constantly being accused of being all woke and hip.
Come at me. I love it. What a great slam. You're too woke. Fuck you.
Right. I'm sorry. Just
You can't
too
handle
aware that there's a
jokes about
change in society.
Yeah. And it's also they're jokes about a topic. Okay.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
maybe they're not making you laugh because you're getting angry. You're getting angry at a topic. You're a weak audience member. That's what I.
That'll show them. Yeah. So I had a bunch of sets. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
But, how were the other sets?
Well, yeah. Let me. Yeah. So, believe me, this will take up a lot of our time.
Good.
No need to rush through this one. So the hotel is like in a business park. I
Sure.
remember I made a lot of notes to myself, and the number one in all caps was rent a car.
Okay.
Just because I felt so trapped, and they didn't even have a breakfast at the hotel. It was like granola bars.
Oh no.
Bad, yeah. So that was a bummer. But I did, because I was trapped, I did just sit and do some work on my act. Like I just started playing and playing last night's set. I play it and then just make notes and.
Oh, good. That's amazing. Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah.
I guess.
I'd rather be walking around the city, just letting the city have an influence on me, affect me, but whatever. But the shows themselves were really fun. Every show was fun in a different way. And it was Thursday to Friday to Saturday. I, of course, am, very paranoid about COVID, right?
Yep.
So I brought my purifier that I put on stage.
The one that looks like a purse.
No, that's a different one. I have two.
Oh, okay.
The first one I just brought and put on the stool near me, and the one on the larger room purifier that it fits in a suitcase. I just got to the show like at 6:00 on Thursday, plugged it in, and I'm like, we're just gonna run this all the time.
Right. I'll buy a new filter next week.
Right. And they're totally cool about it. And they renovated the club during the lockdown, and they added purifiers to their system too.
Oh, great.
That made me feel 1,000 times safer because, at the end of the week, I was 5 hours in a room with people that were unmasked, and I was unmasked. That's a huge amount of exposure to COVID.
That's real. For real.
So if the purifiers were working, and if my vaccines are working, and maybe I'm okay this week. I mean, I feel fine, and I'll test like tomorrow, because I think like the last time I would have had any sort of like exposure would be on the airplane this morning,
Mm-hmm.
just, and
Mm-hmm.
even though I was double masked and I have my little purse purifier right under my face, I put it on my,
On
tray.
your lap? Oh, did you?
Yeah. You could also
Okay.
hang it on, the little lock that puts the tray up and down. You can
Yeah.
hang it on that too. Um, but
Is it battery operated or charger operated?
charger, USB.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and again, I don't even know if this is making a difference, but I feel like
It's good to feel like
something.
you're doing something, you know?
I
Yeah.
mean, it does clean the air a little bit, It does do that job. I hear it working and whirring and all that kind of stuff. I
Yeah.
don't know. We'll see. But this is the gig I was the most worried about in terms of COVID exposure because no one there takes it seriously at all. Like in Ohio, nobody was wearing a mask, and
Yeah.
it's not on people's minds. And it's not like when I was getting picked up by lifts, none of the drivers had masks, but they were very nice and stuff, and they weren't like saying anything to me because I was like
Right.
masked. But it was just like I'm like, gosh, I felt like the news wasn't getting to these people. I don't know. I don't understand.
Right.
So yeah, but the show's really fun, and the other comics, one of them's a comic of the week, were great, and it was a all
That's great.
female lineup, and
Oh, cool.
the two other comics, Shayna Rabani was one of them, and the other one who will be our comic of the week, so we'll save her name. But they were both like, we never get to work with women. It was like, you and I have had this conversation since the 90s. And I feel like the Midwest female comics are still very isolated
Yep.
and they don't get to
Still
work with
living it. Yeah.
headliners, or they're always walking into a green room full of guys. And it's
Yeah.
like, that feeling, it's
Yeah.
hard, because
Hmm.
the other comic was like, I didn't realize how different it felt to be with just women in the lineup when you just walk into the little green room
Hmm.
and all the defenses you don't have to put up automatically, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Or just the conversations are about different things. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
I know that feeling.
Next week I'm at Acme and I forgot to ask Lewis who I was working with because he usually gives me the brand new first ever MC person. And
Yeah.
then I think he does try to mix it up, but I want to know. I should have mentioned I just wanted him to mix it up
Yeah.
because the different humans make for more interesting shows.
Of course.
Did anybody come up to you after the show and say, I love that joke you did? And you're like, that was the features joke, because that happens to white guys all the time where they just get mixed up for each other.
No.
It only happened to me one time at Tucson, Gary Bynum.
Yeah.
He told me he accidentally booked 3 women, and he said, that isn't a problem, right? And I was like, no.
Oh my
no,
God,
it's a
Gary.
problem,
But I at least he's open about who he is.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you know what? I know the rest of them are saying this but making sure that they're behind closed doors, not in front of our
Right.
face.
Right. Yeah.
I appreciate that from club owners that are like that.
I actually the Gary Bynum thing. There's things that let's just say the good things that I like about Gary Bynum. He doesn't want to have in-depth conversations with comics. I love this. He
That's
wants to talk in passing,
Yeah.
and then it might come up. What are you watching?
Yeah.
And then he doesn't pay great. He knows he doesn't pay great. He's like, you're probably above this now.
Yeah.
And then the last thing is that thing about mixing it up with you want people of color and more women and stuff. So, and he's like, do you want that? I can do that. And he's very transparent about it as long as you say the words. And I have a problem remembering to say the words.
Yeah, it's a lot to remember, I was, of course, as I was trapped in the hotel and then, waiting an hour for a lift. Yeah. And the other thing, it was $10 from the hotel to the Starbucks. It's less than a mile drive. $40 back they were trying to charge me. That's why I waited so long. I'm like, no.
Oh my gosh.
That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as I was, having this basically the same road experience I've had for 20 years, I'm like, there's other comics my age that are taking corporate jets to their gigs and they're staying in super nice hotels. And that just isn't how my career has panned out so far.
No, no, you just get to do the gigs you get to do. So other people our age are doing cruise ships. So count your blessings.
I know it's true. It's really true.
Yeah.
And yeah, I felt like myself on stage. Like the other thing is like it's so fun to know you can still do what you're really good at, right?
Yeah.
And that you haven't lost it and you still got it, and it's so fun.
Yeah. Stand up
Like
is really fun.
it's really fun. And sometimes in LA, it's like they're little tiny sets. So you're like, I'm trying to work on this one joke, and it's you're not your normal self, right? And then you're in a road gig. It's like, all right, this is my show. You're my audience. I can be up here as long as I want, and it's such a different feeling of ownership of the show.
Right.
It's like, and you just don't have it in LA. I don't feel ownership of a show if I'm one of 15 comics on the show.
Right. Or even 7, right?
Yes.
Like, because I did that Blast from the Past set, and Amy Miller was supposed to close, but she was over at the Improv and wasn't going to make it in time, and Jeff May was like, you could go up, so it's going to be you and then Amy, but Amy has to drive from the Improv. And I was like, still, is she going to be here? And he goes, yeah, I think she'll be here. And I almost offered to go along because I wanted to try all this new stuff. That my Bastille Day joke is working okay. I found a new sort of tag on it, which is good. But I cannot get into sex workers as workers. That's that weird bit that I was talking about doing that I've tried one time, to a great deal of polite nodding and some smiles. So that's not what I'm looking for in stand up.
There was a line that I did in my Corden set that it's always felt like too long, and I was just like, well, and the party was like, oh, I did on TV, I'm not gonna fucking work on this thing anymore. But now I need it for the time, and
Sure.
I fixed it. I'm like, oh, this flows so much better.
That's it.
It hasn't been on an album yet, so it's fine. But okay. And then there's other just little tweaks where you're in the moment, you're having a good time, and so you're doing a joke that is maybe 80% finished.
Yeah.
And then you're in the flow, and you just say the right way to end it.
I know. And I didn't record Blast from the Past, so I was so mad at myself because I tried a bunch of new stuff and it worked, and you can't tell. I can't tell if it worked because I was with my nerd people, or if I had said it in a specific, and I now I'll never know because I didn't record it. So I was a fool to not record it, but I'll do it again and again and again. Iteration.
Yes.
So last Sunday I did a set at Flappers. That was super fun.
Right.
And then I did not have it, and then found out about COVID on Monday.
Your mother-in-law having COVID.
Yep. I think I might have. I forget what it was, but I didn't do a set again until Wednesday, until I tested a bunch. And I opened for improv troops, and improv troops were the audience, and improv troops are the best audience.
Oh, okay.
Because they're a yes and they're made up of yes and bees. So and then I drove to West Side. Yes, and I drove to West Side to do a set, and the show had been canceled. And he forgot to. I emailed him and asked him, and he had forgotten to respond to me, Chris. And so he felt really bad, and I was like, "No, it's all right. I love doing a lap sometimes, and because and sometimes I genuinely
drive, Jackie. You don't get a chance in LA that much, so it's always...
And I found parking, and that was free. So it was kind of so I walked up, and he was like, I am so sad. I'm so sorry for you. So I'm going to do another set this Friday.
Oh, that's
good. He just
good.
gave me a quick set. And then Thursday I did The Crow, which is a new club. Remember Nicole who did Virgin
I told you about it. Yes. Yeah. Nicole
Yes.
and her husband, Mickey. Yes.
So I did that. And it was really great. It was with Zach Noe Towers and Ron Funches and DJ.
Wow.
It was a great show.
That's a killer show.
Yeah, it was a really, really fun show, and I worked on some of the new stuff there. But during the day, David Smalley, David C. Smalley?
Mm-hmm.
Some people do. But I only know him because he retweeted something and it went viral, and that's literally how I met him.
Oh, wow.
And but he used to have a podcast called Dogma when he was religious and he went from being religious to being an atheist.
Is he a comic?
He's a comic
Yeah,
and and a podcaster, and now he has this other podcast which I forget the name of, but it's going to come out. But he emails me. He's like, "Hey, Marilyn Rice Cub is going to do my podcast. I was wondering if you would do it with her, to talk about how you felt about Roe v. Wade being overturned." And I was like, I don't want to do this. And he was like, "Well, Marilyn," and I was like, okay. And so Mary Lynn did it, and then we got Carmen to do it. And Carmen Morales was so fucking funny because David, he couldn't get into the topic for some reason. And I asked the thread like questions to ask him.
Yeah.
Because it's weird, right? But so he gets into the topic by asking each of us how we felt when we heard the news that it was overturned. And it's such a weird way to get into it. And Carmen Morales literally, she goes, "Well, I never came so hard in my life." What a stupid fucking question. And he was like, "Oh my God, you just busted me so." And she's like, "Well, you're gonna get your chops busted. It's gonna happen a little bit on this particular episode."
Yeah.
And then at one point he did say, "I just wanted to give women a voice." And I was like, I wish you wouldn't have put it like that. But his heart is genuinely in the right place.
Heart meant well. I get it. Yes.
But I want to give women a voice it just feels
very patriarchal.
hard.
But yeah. But I mean, yeah, I've noticed a lot of guys are like, I don't know what to say. If I don't, I want to like let whatever, not try to dominate the conversation, but then everyone's like, you should say something, it's tricky to be a guy, but not as tricky as it is to be a woman. So
true. So true. So true.
Times for everybody.
It's tricky times.
Let's see. I was gonna say, I don't know. I had a really fun week. I'm exhausted. I don't have a set tonight. I have like one set on Wednesday at the Barksdale.
Okay.
Try to pick up some others on maybe Tuesday, Thursday. Saturday, I'm gonna drive to the Bay Area with my son.
Oh.
And I have a set at a library in San Leandro, and I have to be clean for kids.
That's right. It's finally happening.
I was like, during my Cincinnati weekend, I'll find the bits I need to do that are clean, and I'm like, ooh. Not that I'm filthy, but even if I'm not even out, I'm like, is this for kids? Honestly, none of my act is for children, but it has to be, I guess, something that parents won't. I mean, I understand what it's like to be a parent, and kids won't get. It's got to be something
right.
that kids won't get.
Well, when you think about Brian Regan's act, it is not. There's adult content. Yes. He just doesn't talk about bodily functions and sex. He just doesn't. Mm-hmm. And so it is, you get, finding the clean bits doesn't mean not finding the non-adult bits, because all of our acts were that we write for our peers.
Right? I write for adults. But when I did The Crow a couple weeks ago, I did a children's show on it, and and I just did a lot of big faces, and I tried to crowd work with the kids and incorporate them into a couple jokes. I only have to do 20 minutes. It's not like I have to do an hour or something.
Oh my gosh. And up in San Leandro, you only have to do 20? Okay, so you are more than fine. You will be fine.
I think so.
But that'll be nice. You and the young man will drive up there, and
yeah, I think we'll bring Charmy. Here's the deal. Like, I just picked Charmy up from the boarding, the kennel.
Yeah.
Oh my God, these costs are unbelievable. It's just
yeah.
Oh
so because you couldn't leave Charmy with
because my son was with his dad, and they were in Texas.
It was a third.
Yeah,
he was out of town. No one home.
Yeah, again, we'll be like, maybe in a year or two, I can, dart away and leave my son home with the dog. And
and the dog will be calmer too, because the dog is still only like a year and a half old, right? Maybe a year.
2 years old, but it's not the calmness; it's the cost of boarding the dog.
No, I know, but once the dog is slightly more calm, you could leave her with someone who house sits and dog sits.
Yeah, but that still costs money. I'm
Right.
saying
Yeah, no, I know, but it won't cost probably as much as
I have no idea what dog sitters cost. I don't know.
right. It's usually like it can't possibly be as much as it costs to do a pit bull.
50 a night. 50 a night is the place I go to.
Oh, well, that's not bad. That's actually what the because I was talking to one of our neighbors because I'm walking two dogs now, and they wind around me like I'm those walkers in the second Star Wars movie, and I get AT-ATs, and but the yeah, and the dogs have always sort of gotten along. The cat has taken over, has decided to come out of the bedroom and make the cats, and the cat is super bossy, and Gordy doesn't want to get into it with the cat. So Gordy is taken to hiding in the room of requirement. And I'm like, hey man. And so he's like, the cat spent the whole day and night in Gordy's crate. Just like passive aggressive bullshit. And
Yeah, you have a lot. You have all of a sudden a lot of uh, life to take care of, right?
yes.
I mean,
Yes.
Charmy, it was $230 for this little weekend,
Oh,
right?
shoot.
My airfare was like over 800.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what the, what the fuck?
Mhm.
Oh my God. I really, I could, it was so much easier when I had a writing job and this was just supplemental income. But to,
Right.
my God.
Now you would like it to be an income.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah,
I'd like a
talk to me
writing
about it.
job. I'd like a writing job. Let's be clear. And to be able to do this, when I can. But
Yeah.
it costs so much right now to do comedy. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I just bought
And
a bunch of go ahead.
I'm headlining. I mean, when I was talking to the feature and the MC, I'm just like, how the fuck are you eating? I don't understand how people. It's horrible the amount of money they're being paid.
Right. Speaking of which, let's name names. Who's our
Yes.
comic of the week?
Our comic of the week
Oh,
is
did we take a break yet though?
Oh,
Oh.
let's do that.
Okay, our comic of the week is Mandy McKelvey, and she is, I think she's Louisville based.
Okay.
So Holly Lene knows her.
Okay.
And she's from South Carolina originally, and she's really good. And she has she has very long bits. Like I was like, I think her 20 minutes might be 3 chunks.
Oh,
And,
really?
and she calls back the first chunk at the end. Like, yeah, just really long, where she goes into lots of, she, when you do like a little, what are the 10 million ways I could talk about this topic, right?
Yep.
And pick 2. She goes like through 1,000 of them, right?
Okay.
But it's funny. She just keeps on it and hammering. It was really, really fun to watch. And she does a great job.
That's so cool.
Not on Twitter. And if she's like,
But she is on Instagram. It's
Right.
Mandy McKelvey, and it's literally MANDEE comedy. So Mandy with 2 E's, and then the word comedy, Mandy comedy. And that's so cool. I can't wait to watch some stand up.
very funny. And she's really long, kind of silvery Emmy Lou Harris hair, which is like gorgeous. Yeah. I was taught because the MC Shayna Ravani has really long black Cher hair.
Okay. So
And I
the
was
two
like,
of them.
I'm used to having the best hair on the show. What the fuck's going on? So it was
That's funny.
yeah. So she's great. Check her out if you can find her on Instagram. I think she's her goal is to get more on social media, but it's not a thing that she does. But just listening to those ladies, and anytime you talk to the local features or anything, you're just like, you have to have
Day
a
job.
day job
Yep.
or some kind of money,
Yep.
family money, or you just have to be living in your car. And it's a shame because it didn't used to be that way.
No, it didn't used to be that way. You got hotel and mediocre money,
Yes.
but it was at least you had hotel,
yeah,
and you could
rent was-
perform better.
right. Yeah. I mean,
Because if you're sleeping in your car, it's hard to get your bits. I mean, you're
course.
tired. You're not sleeping well. So
right. It's and you could make a little living for just your little self as a road feature.
Right. I made anywhere between $17,000 and $25,000 a year for decades.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the back end, like the good years. And I always had a day job, but I probably didn't have to have a day job if I had been willing to have another roommate. And I was also willing to live in uncertainty. So it turns out I am not good with living in
Well,
uncertainty.
I lived with my parents, so I didn't have rent,
Right,
until I moved to New York, and then I was like thrown into the real world.
Yes.
Violently, the world of rent. Yeah, and having a job and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it sucks. It seems exhausting. I know it is exhausting for these guys, and I don't know how to fix it. I'm fucking worried about paying. I mean, paying.
Everybody should buy the features merch more than they should buy mine, but try to buy everybody's. But I get it, right?
My dog, the boarding, the boarder probably made more money watching my dog than maybe the MC did all week. You know what I mean? It's just I don't know. I think was there that article of just like the clubs, if they charged just a little bit more per ticket, they could pay, they could pay the features, at least the features, more of a wage, so they could live.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be nice if everybody did what they did for a job and made some money doing it.
Right, because
you're
also, here's the thing, like, to be a good comic, you need a ton of stage time, right?
Yep.
You can't afford to do stage time. You can't afford to go on the road and break even for a weekend.
Right. Or the thing is I know features who would do it like every 2 or 3 months. They're like, I want to play that club. I'm going to eat it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to eat the money. It's going to be sort of a vacation.
Yeah.
And you're like, it should not be that. It should not be that. We all have to. Yeah.
But it's natural that then you go, all right, well, let me do a podcast and start talking for 2 hours a day and then build build an audience that way. But the way you're building an audience, it's great, but it's not stage time, It's
not stage time. And much like a podcast, the energy expended to do this podcast in the Dork Forest it's a different kind of performance, right?
Right.
So when I do a podcast, I'm also tired, right? It's sort of like when I first started doing stand-up and thinking about day jobs after college, right? I was like, I could make a real living, a quality living doing sales, but it takes all of that sort of creative energy.
Yeah.
To pitch, to make the sales, you're using all of your charm and all of your energy when you desperately need that on stage when you're early, because you're like, no, I got to milk the audience. And what I got to milk them while I try to get this bit right.
Yes.
Is all of that personality.
You have to protect your resources.
Yes.
Creative resources.
Finite.
Yes. And if when I was working on Conan, my brain would be tired at the end of the day because I'd written jokes.
I couldn't believe that you still did stand-up, that you and Kylie were still doing stand-up.
But the thing that made it that we could, for both of us, is our act had nothing to do with the kind of writing we were doing during the day. But so it was sort of like almost relief to just get up and talk about my mom or my son, because it wasn't as precise as like topical.
Did you find that it kind of refilled the well a little bit? Or
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting.
But that's within under the umbrella of comedy. But if you're giving a lot of yourself to a different day job, it's just hard. I mean, I'm talking to my son about that. I'm like, you're going to have to figure out how to, if you want to be an animator, what are you going to do? Was it some comic? I forget who it was just like, be like a janitor, something where you are not mentally taxed, where you can think while you're.
That was always my day job. When I worked at Closed Captioning Services and Vitec people were always like, why aren't you captioning? And Kyle Kinane and Matt Bronger and I'm still friends with people who used to caption.
Oh, really?
But the thing is they had responsibilities. They had shows that were assigned to them. And I was essentially a monkey. I answered phones. I logged things in. I digitized back when you had to digitize from tape.
Mm-hmm.
And but it was, I was like, I need something that's idiot, just anyone. And it is a drain because it's a job, right? So the week that I quit, like 2 weeks later, I had lunch with my old boss, and she was like, "You just seem more relaxed." And I was like, "And yet I don't have any money, but I don't have this lump on the back of my neck where I'm like, got to make sure all the ducks are in a row." But it wasn't a challenging job. Like it didn't take any brain power. I just had to sit there and do shit. So those are the jobs that I would recommend.
Yeah, but now that I think about it, though, when I was coding, that took brain power, but it was different. I don't know. For some reason, it was like, then I'm done and I get to do stand up, and stand up felt like fun,
Yeah. When in Minneapolis, I was in customer service. And so I did have to sort of talk people down a fair number of times because I worked at a stoner t-shirt and poster shop. And so people were constantly getting the wrong items, and because everybody was high.
Oh, right.
And but it was peacenik, hippie skippy t-shirts and posters and whatever. And I'd be like, gonna send out UPS will grab the old one, send you the new one. Yeah.
Maybe it's interacting with people that's exhausting in a day job. And whether you're like coding or cleaning or something, if you're just by yourself, then you're kind of preserving your resources a little bit.
Yeah, I think people have to sort of.
There's so much energy required on stage to connect with the audience.
People might have to figure it out for themselves, because some people can do that sort of, like Eric Allen used to work at Jamba Juice. When he first moved here, he worked at Jamba Juice, and he said, "Wow, Jamba Juice's standards are real low. They're like, you're going to show up again tomorrow." And he's like, "Every day, just like, and then you'll pay me at the end of the 2 weeks." Yeah, that's the social contract. And but he said it was perfectly fine. The only kind of thing that was a drag was that it's stand all day and make juice things. Yeah. So.
Well, yeah, I don't know what to say about, but I will say that I have heard from several different comics about if they're opening for big comics, big name, famous comics, are getting really shitty money. And it's just an exposure thing. And it's like, you got to be kidding. You're a big comic. You know more than anyone how much it means, how much people need money. And you're making fuckloads of it,
Right. If you're making a great deal of money, you have to share that wealth.
Yes.
That's how the next generation, and even if you're only doing it because you're hoping to feature for them one day, how about that? You picked them to open for them. Oh, really? That person?
Yep.
That's not cool, because we know about this person, right? Obviously, we know that person.
Yeah.
And
the first person I typed is making fuckloads of money, and they should be paying their people better. That's all.
Right, as is that second person. And I don't know about this guy, but do you know how he pays?
I don't know, but I think he pays pretty well. Yeah.
Well, because I remember the people who opened for Seinfeld said that Seinfeld paid really well, and you got to ride in his private jet. So, and you got to stay where he stayed.
Yeah.
So that was.
Yeah. That's what Conan did when I went on a little bit of his tour. I think I did like 10 dates.
And Brian Regan lets me stay on his bus.
Oh, that's cool. Got to ride in a corporate jet. We got to stay at the Four Seasons. We got to stay at the best hotels. It was really cool.
Mm-hmm. When I opened for Regan in New York, I stayed at the Ritz-Carlton right on Central Park South.
Incredible.
Central Park. And then one of my friends sent me a fruit basket. I'm like, I'm here for one night. And
now then I'm going to the Best Western in Times Square. So
people profess to respect the work, right? And everybody, and if you could have, and if you've specifically asked for someone to open for you, you value that person. You value what they bring to your show. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Brian pays super fair, just to say out loud.
Too, yeah.
And Maria plays super fair. Yes.
So it's just like I don't know. I don't like. Part of me is like, well, when I'm in that situation, and now I'm like, am I ever going to be in that situation? Should I keep thinking like that, or should I just go, well, this is my situation, and I love doing comedy, and it's so fun, and I'm so grateful that I still am able to do it at the level that I expect from myself. You know,
Okay.
like I
Yeah. Oh, quality wise. Yeah.
so happy that of that. Okay. Oh, I don't know. Shoot, what else? Oh, you would ask me because Chappelle released another special, and I'm not commenting on it at all. But
Wait, like another one, like just
well,
now?
he released a video of him talking
Okay.
on Netflix. But somebody one of the things he had mentioned that he said, without being ironic, he said, like, I'm a once in a lifetime talent, once in a generation talent, that kind of a thing. And
Out loud. He said
Oh,
that out
very
loud
loud,
about
yes.
himself.
yes.
Oh, wow.
And
okay.
I challenged my peers to
Ooh.
match me or something like that. Just like, and it was, the younger comics who do not revere him are hilarious. And then there's a lot of us that are like, you know him or something or whatever. And, but I also feel like or maybe most comics tell themselves that, especially the first year, because you have to eat so much shit.
Early. That's
Yes,
an
you're like,
early. That's
there's
like
no one
young,
like me.
young hip hop artists. That's
Well,
what
no,
this is.
but I think young comics too. Everyone that's
Right.
going through the open mic system, and they're just being humiliated by club owners or whatever every single night. You have to believe something about yourself to put yourself through that. Even these women I was just working with, you have to believe in yourself to be making the money they're making at the level they're at. They're both really funny. So it kind of made me laugh just to watch Chappelle say it, because I'm like, he's probably been saying this to himself since he was 15, and
Yeah.
I would say most comedians have at some point said that to themselves, especially when shit's awful and you're like, do I quit? No, I'm good. There's no one like me. I'm a once in a lifetime talent. You have to say these crazy things to yourself to keep yourself going.
Yeah, I can never remember saying anything like that to myself. I remember eating it so hard and calling Karen Rontowski and going, I'm not a hack, right? And her going, holy shit, no, you are not a hack. And I was like, because I'm certain I'm not a hack.
No, you're not a hack at all.
So that is my version of going, I'm a once in a lifetime. This is it.
What if you got really famous and you could just release anything you wanted on Netflix, but it was just a half hour of you going, I'm not a hack. I am not a hack.
Hey, let's take a real quick break. And when I say quick, it's quick for us, not for them.
Yes.
We don't know how long the
Torture for them. Who knows what the heck?
God knows. They have a list of minutes of some sort of nonsense or something imperative.
I think it's going to be the fine entertainment you can get on MaximumFun.com.
It very easily
.org.
Are you got to put that Operation Save Abortion thing on here too?
Oh,
which
yes,
is that
please.
Liz wins. Yeah. It's how to be an activist. It's a free sort of a web seminar.
Oh, that's cool.
And run by Liz Winstead who created The Daily Show and Operation Save Abortion, and so how to be an activist. So it's July 17th online. I'm going to try to make it my own self, and the ad to find out how to get there, which I think is just go to operationsaveabortion.com and register. Much like Sunday services, you get a registration link. So
Sunday services. So I saw a lot more masks on the way home than on the way out. I feel like over the weekend, the word got out about the BA5 variant. It seemed like it was some sort of it was noticeably different on the way back.
Yeah.
It's like summertime. We're supposed to be free, because we're all outdoors, but I'm so fucking sick of this shit. I'm so getting all these purifiers, plugging them in, remembering them, grabbing them, bringing my little mini one on stage, and then taking it off, and always having it. fucking mask on when other people aren't. It's and people semi treating me like an invalid.
Right. And you're self-conscious because you're like, am I overreacting? But you're not because you still haven't gotten it.
Yeah,
So
that's the only measure is, well, I mean, it's so far.
Yep. Right. Right. Um,
So do you guys have an air purifier at your house?
yeah, we have Chris brought hers.
Okay. How do you
Yours?
think that she, okay. Yeah. How do you think she got it?
I don't know.
Wow.
That is a problem because I don't know. And
She had been with you a while before she got it, and she was only in the house.
right, she had some doctor's appointments kind of things. But it wasn't. It might have been at that. I don't know. All I know is that we're going to test again tomorrow.
I I try to wonder what it would be like if my mom hadn't got it.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know how she would have avoided it. I don't know. I mean, I haven't brought it back and my son hasn't, so she would have avoided it, I guess. But
Yeah. Right.
I don't know.
And
But wait, she tested positive, Chris did, right?
yeah, she
Okay.
Chris tested positive, and but it was one of those quick tests, and we took quick tests. I wanted her to get a PCR test. I wanted her to take one of the $80 ones that we got from Amazon, one of those fancy home PCR tests,
Mm-hmm.
or just some lateral kind of test. But everybody blew off my idea, so we did not do that. And then
Those tend to find positives that the home tests miss. I'm saying it's likely that if she tested positive on that one, she does have it or
Yeah.
had it at that time.
Yep.
So you maybe did, if she had symptoms and was testing negative, then maybe you'd want to get like a more
Right, that's the way everybody else does it. I'm like, I don't think you've got it. You should take another more.
um
But it's so we've been wearing masks around the house.
and you have a purifier in the house going,
Yep,
right?
yep, we got a couple of purifiers going. So
Yeah.
just trying to get furniture. I broke one of her bedside lamp the other day accidentally because
Oh,
I
yeah.
tripped over a wire. It was a $10 bedside lamp. It's not the end of the world, but I felt really. I was just I've been feeling less. I've been feeling kind of just a lot of it. It's the transition is going to be hard. So
It is hard.
I
And
feel not like a gazelle, shall we say?
yeah, it's a lot to have a new person in your space. It's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, and all the animals and
Sure. I mean,
You know.
you have a lot more responsibility than you had last year at this time.
so true, and a lot more laundry, a lot more food, a lot more.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but here's something I found out. I am doing the Comedy Works.
Okay.
I'm on their calendar. Remember how the last 3 weeks I've been saying, God, I wish I could get back to the Comedy Works. Well, it turns out I didn't write it in my calendar. And then they posted on their Facebook, Jackie Cation coming back in February. And I was like, oh, I didn't put it down.
Oh, they're already posting February stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on August 5th. I'm doing a winery in Livermore in the Bay Area, and
I know that guy's always wanted to do the Dork Forest. We've tried it 3 times
Ryan.
and he's never booked me for the winery. And I think it's because we've never been able to do the Dork Forest because that's where my brain goes. It's not
Yeah.
okay.
No, it's
Probably not true.
You're a petty lady, and just own it and enjoy it.
Oh my God. Carmen Morales on the Roe v. Wade podcast. She said, if you've been holding back on being petty, now's the time. Don't just be petty. Now's the time. And I was like, that's hilarious.
I'm doing in October. I'm going to Milwaukee to do a festival.
Oh, you're doing the Laughing Tap Guy Festival.
yes.
That'll be great. Greg Bach. Yeah.
Very excited.
That's awesome. The first weekend or any idea? Not offhand?
I will come. I'll circle back.
Yeah.
You do have time to get your tickets, but it is happening in October, and prepare yourselves because
Yep.
Right now I haven't. I'm basically I did an hour every night last week with 3 chunks from my album. You
Yep.
know, but so most of it is not, which I'm glad of. You know.
Yeah. 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 My
Um.
my August and September are pretty full, and that's cool. Just to Colorado, and
Yeah.
then I forget where else. It's San Francisco. Yeah,
Oh, you went to the
that's
pine.
my August is Colorado, and then Punchline, and then my September is very very. It's a North Carolina Comedy Fest,
Oh,
Greensboro,
nice.
Portland, Oregon. Just doing the Siren by myself, unless you want to come.
Oh, what
And
night is it?
it's the 16, 17 of September.
Oh, that's cool. Did you? I
I
mean,
just I was just talking to Shelly about it.
can't wait for Helium to book me because that guy doesn't book me.
Right. We can't wait. We can't wait. And
Can't
then
wait. You know
the
what?
24th, I'm doing another weekend with Brian Regan. So
That's cool. I'm
yeah.
doing JFL in Toronto in September. So check my site for those dates if you're in Toronto. But yeah, I'm getting Chris Hardwick is making my what?
Chris Fairbanks.
Excuse me, Chris
Chris Hardwick is taking art. He learned to play the piano. He'll write you a song.
Chris Fairbanks is making my woke grief. I can't even remember the name of
Cis.
my title. Cis woke grief slut poster.
Yeah.
Of me on a centaur. Thank you for the idea, Jackie.
So,
And
but you didn't you don't want to make merch about the centaur and the chariot
maybe I don't know. Oh, there's no chariot. I mean, maybe. We'll
because
see.
it's in the joke.
I want to see. Yeah, I want to see what the
What the poster looks like.
yeah, maybe I'll just sell the poster, or he said if you do pay what you want, people cough it
That
up.
is between you and your friends. Pay what you want. Boo.